I don't know exactly why I'm doing this. If my cousins and my aunts and uncles are listening, and I hope some of you are, that's my honest answer. I just feel like someone should tell this story. And maybe you feel the same way. Maybe that's why nobody has. Because we're all standing at the same edge, wondering who goes first. Well, I guess it's me. This is a true story about a family from a small town in Wisconsin. About a bomb on a plane in 1972. About 6 people who never came home. And about everyone who was left behind to figure out how to keep living like normal people. A small town grieved and moved on. We did too. Or maybe we just went quiet. I'm Andy Kane, one of the cousins. As I said, I'm not exactly sure why I'm telling this story, but I hope I find out along the way. There are some feelings you never forget. Like a tickle in your belly as you shoot higher and higher on one of the many rope swings that dotted the property at the lake. I think there were 4 of them. Barefoot and flying because one of your older cousins gifted you an underdog from out of nowhere. Watch that stump though. You don't forget that feeling either when you hit your feet. So you need to remember to pick up your feet, especially as more and more summers pass and your legs get longer. It's worth it though. It feels like you might just fly off and up and splash in the lake just a few yards away. You squeal, you catch your breath and laugh until you go quiet, and then think nothing thoughts. That was heaven, sunburn and all. And then Mom Kenny's voice brings you back to earth. Not so high, kids, that's too high. It felt like she was always spoiling our fun. Of course, now I know why. It was her property after all. She didn't need any more tragedy in her life. She'd had enough. That whole family had had enough. Back then, the only tragedy I knew was that summer would be over all too soon and my cousins would leave along with it. I hated the end of summer. Big Cedar Lake was a picture postcard from Never Never Land. The water cold in the morning, clear and fresh. The best time to swim was right after a thunderstorm. When it passed, the water was like a goddamn bathtub, I swear. We'd take long swims, sometimes bare-ass naked, and wash our hair off the pier with herbal essence shampoo, the green kind. It was always waiting in the boathouse, even in the fall when everyone was gone and I could take one more lonely swim. It was a Kenny cousin thing. We all did it. We had boats, we learned to water ski. There was a seldom used sunfish sailboat that my Uncle Tom used to sail. The only reason I know that is from a home movie I once saw. It was an, oh, so that's who sailed it moment. There were canoes and rowboats with little 9-horse engines that we used to spin around the lake. We called them putt-putts. I thought that's what everyone called them until too many people asked, why do you guys call them putt-putts? So I suppose that was a Kenny thing too. There were places to go, Keith's and Peter's and Heilman's and the Linden Inn. Mrs. Keith made the best hamburger on the planet, I swear. The worst days were when she didn't feel like cooking and you were left with a bag of chips instead of the greatest culinary gift you could hold in your hand. Maybe that's why they tasted so good. Scarcity was cooked into each and every one. Peter's was a little bar down the road. It had candy for us and cold beers for our parents, a jukebox, cool beer signs, and a cigarette machine right in the open on the stone porch entrance. There were no guards, no hurdles, just a 50-cent ticket price. We used to take our grass cutting money and pretend like we were older than 10, and then head to Peter's for a pack of smokes. Then we'd take a slow walk back home, up the gravel road, learning to inhale on the way. It was right out of the movie Stand By Me. Sincerely. There was also a restaurant called the Brown Derby that burned down many years later. It was a little fancier, but that's not saying much, but it was charming as hell. And the soda pop was better too. West Bend soda. Our little town had its own damn soda. Can you imagine? Orange, root beer, cream, a cola, and then the clear stuff that was the consolation prize when everything else was taken. But there was also cherry, and everyone liked cherry best. It was a lake for all people back then, not just lake people. You could put your boat in, gas it up, grab a burger at Keith's, if Mrs. Keith was cooking, pick up some night crawlers and a fishing pole. Hell, you could even buy water skis if you were so inclined. On any given Sunday, there was water skiing, sailing, fishing, swimming. The Richies weren't out to keep people off the lake back then. Everyone was welcome. At least that's what it felt like. Now, there's one boat launch, Keith's is gone, Peter's is gone, the Brown Derby is gone. That lake is less than. Let me tell you about the Kenny compound. There was Mom Kenny's house, the shack, the Ziegler cottage, the guest house, 2 boathouses, 2 piers, sometimes 3 depending on the summer. It sat on top of an expansive hill, steep and tumbling to the water's edge below. The Kenny Pier on one end, the so-called Ziegler Pier on the other, separated by swampy middle ground along the shoreline and their names. That's something I think about now that I didn't then. In the hollow at the center of it all was a water pump, hand-operated, old. The water that came out was the coldest, cleanest, sweetest water that ever existed on this earth. Icelandic water would be ashamed, even though you had to pan it a little to get the rusty bits out. It's worth it every time. We used it to rinse the sand off our feet after the sandbox. We drank it. We used it to fill buckets to dump on unsuspecting cousins and, occasionally, when you knew they were in the right mood, on our parents. It was just always there. The way everything good at that lake was just there, without explanation, without anyone making a fuss about it. And then there was the shack. It was the biggest cottage on the property. A little rickety and a lot scary when the dark rumbling storms of summer lingered past closing time. It was worn at the elbows, but it was ground zero when the families came together. There was an apple tree just to the left of the front door. A brick barbecue just outside the flat open space where picnic tables and grills and ice buckets full of West Bend soda and another with a keg of beer on the 4th of July were kept cold. The screen door never quite closed right, and when the cousins descended on that place, it was loud and easy and full. That's the word, full. West Bend was a small town, 15,000, 20,000 people back then. I'm not exactly sure. Mostly German Catholic, which is something my Irish grandfather loved. It was closed in the way small towns are closed. And the Kenny family was, I don't know how else to say it, a kind of gravity in this town. My grandfather, who we called Pop, was DJ Kenny. He came to West Bend at 17 and never left. In fact, he was the principal at the high school at 17. Can you believe that? And then he grew a business and passed it on. That's a whole other story. What matters is that the Kenny name meant something in this town. And so when something happened to the Kennys, everyone knew. I had a lot of cousins. Some I barely knew but vaguely remember. Uncle Tom and Aunt Robbie's kids. I remember Khaki and her white canvas tennis shoes. I remember Danny's wry smile, kind of cocky and cool. Colleen just a little bit. And I can't remember if I remember Mary or not. I was young, not part of that age group. I remember Uncle Tom, too. Better put, I remember the dull throbbing pain in my skull after he'd ruffle my flaming red hair with that big old Naval Academy ring. I think I remember him laughing every time. Good nature ribbing at its best. Maybe he liked me, I don't know. I was a little afraid of him the way 7-year-olds are afraid of their uncles. The lakeshore by the Ziegler Pier had an unfinished fieldstone retaining wall that we used to stand on as the waves lapped at our feet. Literal stepping stones into the water. A young man started it and ran out of time before he could finish. Nobody ever really completed it after that. He was there every summer that followed, through every birthday, every 4th of July, every loud weekend at the shack, just sitting there, slowly crumbling into the lake. I didn't know what it meant when I was little, but I do now. I have some memories that are vivid, and some that are more like weather than memory. What I know is this. I grew up inside something without knowing what it was. The quiet, the solemnity of the adults that I chalked up to grown-ups being scary. The way the 4th of July kept happening, but something was always slightly off. The way my grandmother's house felt heavier than the other cottages. I didn't have a name for any of it. I just had a hazy yellow feeling. Something happened. Something awful. Something that made my charmed world less than. Far less. It was the summer of 1972. I remember the crying agony, so piercingly sad and uncontrollable. Just so much crying. My cousins and sisters huddled over newspapers spread on the floor of the shack. They were literally shrieking. It was the first time I heard uncontrollable grief. They were channeling it. My God, they would yell over and over as the torrent of emotion switched from momentary acceptance to utter disbelief. From, "This happened," to, "How could this happen?" There was a television set with tinfoil wrapped around the rabbit ear antenna. It was on the news. And on that screen, my coolest older cousin John Kenny, gray, shocked, dead inside. His whole family was gone. It was foggy and clear at the same time. I was 7 years old. I didn't understand any of it. But that night, or some night not long after, I had a dream. It was a low-heat nightmare, not terrorizing, but scary as can be. In the dream, it was the twilight hours of the morning. Still dark, still night, but edging into the day. I saw each cousin step out of the woods that was behind our house. The woods that covered the big steep hill that ran the length of our thick Wisconsin backyard. Each one stepped out, but not as if they were walking. It was more like they were stepping out from behind a curtain on a stage. Like a Brady Bunch special, or the Partridge Family. No music, just one cousin stepping out of the woods, then sliding over to make room for the next. My aunt and uncle came out last, all 6 of them standing there at the edge of the grass, just outside the jungle-like edge of the woods. There were smiles. I woke up cold and sweaty. I was shivering and afraid to get out of bed. It's the most vivid memory I have of that summer. And decades later, I found out my sister Heidi had the same dream. One more thing before I go. I was a kid when this happened. These are my memories, and I'm about 90% sure they're right. Maybe 85, the other 10 or 15% is just fog. The honest kind. I have cousins who are older, who were there, who remember things I never knew and things nobody ever talked about. Some of you have already written to me. You've already changed this story in ways I didn't expect. If you knew this family, if you're a Kenny cousin or you grew up in West Bend, or you were just somehow part of this, I want to hear from you. My email is in the show notes below. Your memories are part of this too. And if you want to know when episode 2 drops, because there will be an episode 2 and a 3 and more after that, send me an email and I'll let you know. This isn't a one episode thing. There's too much here, too many people, too many things I haven't fully digested yet. I'm telling a real story, one episode at a time, however long it takes.